Welcome to Daily Review, your daily dose of literary exploration. We dive into books that spark curiosity and ignite growth. While our passion often leads us to nonfiction reads that empower and improve your life, no book is off limits. From gripping thrillers to insightful memoirs and compelling fiction to historical accounts, we're here to share and discuss all the interesting reads we discover. Tune in for your next great book idea.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a truly fascinating intersection of technology, morality, and, well, human ambition. We're unpacking a story that Malcolm Gladwell brings vividly to life in his book, The Bomber Mafia.
Yeah, it's compelling stuff. And what's so interesting, I think, is how Gladwell shows this isn't just military history, it's much deeper.
Yeah.
It's really a profound look at how these huge dreams, often born from the incredible trauma of one war.
World War I specifically.
Right, exactly. How those dreams shaped the intentions for the next war, World War II. And then, crucially, how those intentions just smashed headfirst into the brutal realities of combat and technology and just, well, human nature under pressure. Absolutely. So our mission for this deep dive is to explore that audacious dream. This vision held by a small, kind of unconventional group of airmen during World War II, the ones dubbed the Bomber Mafia.
Uh-huh.
They genuinely believed they could reinvent warfare.
Yeah.
Make it precise, quick, almost bloodless. A complete departure from what came before.
A total paradigm shift was what they were aiming for.
We'll trace this dream, from its really idealistic origins through the amazing inventions, the eccentric geniuses involved.
Yeah, definitely some characters there.
And then track it to its ultimate and often devastating confrontation with reality. We're talking about the agonizing choices leaders had to make under just unimaginable pressure.
You'll hear about some incredible inventions, some surprising personalities, and the questions this whole story still raises today. It's quite a ride.
Okay, let's unpack this whole thing.
Yeah.
The story really kicks off, not with a bang, but with this profound, almost unspeakable trauma. The First World War.
Right. You have to understand the context. We're talking 37 million people wounded or killed. The scale is just staggering, hard to even grasp.
And battles like the Somme. You read about them. Over 1 million casualties in one battle with basically no strategic gain, just horrific.
A meat grinder, mud, trenches, mass slaughter. For anyone who lived through that or even just witnessed it, there was this desperate, almost primal urge to find a different way. Anything but that again.
So that brings up the core question, right? How do you even conceive of a better war after something like that?
Exactly. And the answer for this small visionary group seemed to lie with the airplane. Remember, aviation was still pretty new then.
Barely a couple of decades old, really.
Yeah, but it held this promise, this potential to fundamentally change how conflicts were fought. These early airmen, deeply affected by the static, awful trench warfare, they started envisioning fighting wars entirely from the air.
The idea being to make ground conflict obsolete.
That was the dream. Make it obsolete. Avoid the endless casualties, the stalemate. It wasn't just a tactical shift they were thinking about. It was like a philosophical break from centuries of military tradition, a belief that technology could lift warfare above that face-to-face brutality.
And here's where it gets really interesting. One of these early airmen, Donald Wilson, he'd served in World War I, seen the carnage. He felt this so deeply. He actually compared his vision for Airpower's potential to Martin Luther King's "I Had a Dream" speech. I mean, think about that level of idealism.
Wow. That's intense.
He genuinely dreamed of nations fighting not to just, prove who's toughest through bloodshed, but to dictate terms through precise, almost surgical strikes.
So hitting specific targets, not just widespread destruction.
Exactly. Using airpower to destroy a limited number of key targets.
Yeah.
What he called the web of interdependent features of a modern nation.
Yeah.
Things like power plants, transport hubs, key factories.
Critical nodes.
Right. The goal wasn't total annihilation. It was just enough precise damage to force an enemy to sue for peace, to avoid the mass slaughter of ground war. It was this mix of tech optimism and really a profound moral drive.
And driving that vision at the technological heart of it all was this device, the Norden bombsight.
Ah, yes, the Norden. You have to picture this. Early 20th century, This thing wasn't just another military gadget. It was considered one of the top 10 unsolved technological problems of the era.
Seriously, like up there with major medical breakthroughs.
Yeah, Gladwell puts it on par with the need for vaccines or developing fertilizers to prevent famine or even creating affordable air conditioning. That's how critical and groundbreaking it felt at the time.
That really puts it in perspective because hitting a specific target from miles up, going hundreds of miles an hour, getting shot at, it's an incredibly complex physics problem in real time.
The ultimate test of man and machine against chaos, basically.
And the man behind it, Carl Norden, himself a fascinating figure.
Oh, definitely. Tell us about him.
Well, he was this Dutch genius, born in Indonesia, educated in Zurich, apparently even a classmate of Vladimir Lenin for a time.
No kidding. Lenin.
Yeah, small world, right?
Yeah.
But Norden was described as extremely prickly, had a massive ego, supposedly, held some odd beliefs, like thinking the sun caused stupidity, so he always wore a hat.
Okay.
And he famously believed only God invented, humans just discover. He was an absolute perfectionist, didn't want to know about others' mistakes, just wanted to figure out the right way himself, worked mostly alone, kept it all in his head.
An intense guy. They called him Old Man Dynamite, apparently.
That's the one. Lived on steak and coffee, supposedly, and would just yell at technicians who questioned his methods. But this intensely private, eccentric man, he was developing this incredible analog computer.
Not digital, analog, weighed 55 pounds, right? The Mark X Fave, or the football.
Exactly. Imagine this thing. Mirrors, telescopes, ball bearings, all working together to solve like 64 different algorithms simultaneously for bomb trajectory.
Factoring in airspeed, altitude, wind, temperature, humidity, even the Earth's rotation.
Everything. It was astonishingly complex. Training bombardiers to use it properly took 6 months. It wasn't just operating a machine. It was like conducting an orchestra while falling out of the sky.
And the secrecy around this thing, it was immense.
Absolutely mythical levels of secrecy. Bombardiers swore an oath to protect it, if need be, with my life itself. They carried thermite charges to destroy it if they crashed.
Thermite, wow.
Yeah, to melt it down so the enemy couldn't get it. And the cost. Each Norden cost more than a tank or a ship or most guns. The whole project cost more than the Manhattan Project, second only to the B-29 bomber itself.
That's incredible. And the legend, the promise, was it could drop a bomb in a pickle barrel from 6 miles up.
That was a sales pitch, yeah. Ted Barth, the salesman, really pushed that image. But for the Bomber Mafia, this wasn't just about hitting targets. It was the moral foundation. Norden himself was deeply religious, believed accuracy could save lives by destroying only the machines of war, not people.
So precision wasn't just tactical, it was ethical.
For them, yes. It was the core of their whole argument for a better way to wage war.
Now, Norden worked mostly alone, but revolutions, as Gladwell points out, usually need a group, right?
Almost always. And Norden's dream found its collective home, its most passionate advocates, not in a lab or on a battlefield, but at Maxwell Field in Alabama, at the Air Corps Tactical School.
Maxwell Field. So how did a bunch of relatively young airmen, mostly in their 20s and 30s with not much teaching experience, end up starting a military revolution there?
Well, context is key. Airpower was still finding its feet. They weren't burdened by decades of entrenched thinking like the Army or Navy. Their motto tells you a lot. Proficimus mor irritanti.
Which means?
We make progress unhindered by custom. They were deliberately iconoclastic. Outsiders called them the Bomber Mafia. Probably not kindly.
Right, Capone era and all that.
Exactly. But they loved it. They embraced the label, saw themselves as crusaders for a new kind of warfare, fighting against the old guard.
And their teaching style wasn't exactly traditional either, was it?
Not at all. No dry lectures. They were, spitballing, making things up as they went, experimenting with ideas. Lectures turned into these open, often fiery discussions that went on for hours, into dinner, late into the night.
A real intellectual incubator.
Totally. And in that environment, they envisioned this new class of bomber, big, powerful, long-range planes they believed would be unstoppable. They were obsessed with the tech advancements. Aluminum, steel, powerful engines.
Which led to their core beliefs, their 4 tenets.
Right. Number 1, absolutely fundamental, the bomber will always get through. They truly thought these new planes were invincible.
Okay.
Number 2, because they're invincible, no need for stealth.
Yes.
So, daylight bombing, you can see the target.
Makes sense if they get through.
Number 3, if you bomb by day, you can use the Norden bombsight for precision.
Connecting the tech to the tactic.
And number 4, high-altitude bombing. Stay out of range of anti-aircraft fire, which reinforces that pickle barrel accuracy idea. If you're high and steady, the bombsight works best.
This was radical thinking at the time.
Absolutely radical. Challenged everything the Army and Navy stood for. Carl Bilder from Rand used that great analogy of the Service Academy Chapel.
Oh yeah, tell us that one.
You've got West Point, Gothic, representing Army tradition, land, Annapolis Beaux-Arts representing Navy grandeur, sea power, and then the Air Force Academy Chapel. Modern, angular aluminum and steel looks like aircraft wings.
Symbolizing their break from tradition.
Exactly. They wanted to be modern, different, technological, driven by this faith in progress. They went from the old B-9 bomber to the B-29 Superfortress in about 10 years. An incredible leap.
Wow.
Fueled by this conviction that strategic air power was the future.
And all this thinking, this idealism and tech faith, it resulted in a concrete plan, right?
Yeah.
AWPD-1.
Air War Plans Division 1.
Yeah.
Astonishingly, drafted in just 9 days.
9 days? How is that even possible?
Because they'd spent a decade thinking about it, arguing about it, refining it in isolation down at Maxwell. AWPD-1 wasn't just theory. It laid out exact numbers, planes, pilots, bombs.
But more importantly, the targets.
Precisely. Specific choke points in Germany. 50 power plants, 47 transport networks, oil refineries, aircraft plants, aluminum, magnesium sources, a detailed surgical blueprint.
A blueprint for a war fought with precision, not just brute force. The dream, written down.
That was the plan. But then came reality.
Right, part 2. Reality bites. The dream of precision, crafted at Maxwell, it starts hitting the hard realities of war in Europe. The Casablanca Conference in 1943 is a key moment.
A huge clash of doctrines there. You have the British, led by Churchill, and significantly RAF Marshal Arthur Bomber Harris.
Bomber Harris, not a subtle nickname.
No, and they were pushing hard for area bombing, deliberately hitting residential neighborhoods night after night. The goal, destroy civilian morale, break their will through terror.
Which raises that deeply uncomfortable question about morale bombing, doesn't it? Especially since the British had experienced the Blitz themselves.
Exactly. Hitler bombed London thinking it would break the British, but it largely didn't. People were incredibly resilient, hated the enemy more, if anything. Yet Harris, having seen it fail against his own people, somehow believed it would work on the Germans because
They were a different breed.
that was his chilling justification, yeah. It's hard to square.
So the Americans, the Bomber Mafia guys like General Ira Eaker, head of the 8th Air Force, they're under huge pressure at Casablanca.
Massive pressure. Eaker literally had to argue face-to-face with Churchill to let them keep trying their daylight precision strategy.
How did he manage that?
With a single, really persuasive memo. His argument was basically, let the British bomb by night, we'll bomb by day. Bombing them's us around the clock will give the devils no rest.
Churchill bought it.
He wasn't fully convinced Eaker was right, but he agreed to give the Americans a chance to prove it. A narrow escape for the precision doctrine.
But the British approach, heavily influenced by Churchill's advisor, Lindemann, it was pretty brutal.
Disturbingly so. Frederick Lindemann, described by C.P. Snow as a sadist, basically calculated how to destroy half the working-class homes in major German cities.
Just calculated destruction.
And Harris carried it out. Butcher Harris, his own men called him. He explicitly targeted civilians, calling them active soldiers. This was the absolute moral line the Bomber Mafia refused to cross. Their whole thing was hitting machines, not people.
A fundamental difference in philosophy.
Absolutely. For them, Harris's approach was a moral betrayal.
Okay, so Eaker gets his reprieve, but the real test for the Bomber Mafia's dream comes with the Schweinfurt raids, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, Schweinfurt. This is where Haywood Hansel comes in. Gladwell calls him the truest of the true believers.
A romantic, a poet, like Don Quixote.
Yeah, an idealist pursuing this grand vision. He targeted Germany's ball-bearing industry, believed it was the Achilles heel of the entire Nazi war machine.
The logic being, no ball bearings, no tanks, no planes, nothing moves.
Exactly. Cripple that one industry and the whole war effort grinds to halt. Peak Bomber Mafia thinking.
But the plan was audacious. A two-pronged attack.
Incredibly complex. And Hansel chose Curtis LeMay to lead the decoy mission to Regensburg. LeMay, the complete opposite of Hansel.
The bulldog. Mind only moves forward. Brilliant poker player. Described a deadly mission as rather dull.
That's LeMay. Utterly pragmatic, ruthless about results. He forced his pilots to fly straight into enemy fire, no evasive maneuvers to ensure accuracy, immense fear. But LeMay just wanted the bombs on target.
So August 17th, 1943, the first big Schweinfurt raid. What happened?
A bloodbath. LeMay's group got off okay thanks to his insane blind takeoff drills in fog, but the main Schweinfurt force got stuck on the ground for hours due to weather.
Giving the Germans time to regroup.
All the time in the world. The Luftwaffe fighters refueled, rearmed, and were waiting. The result was horrific. The 8th Air Force lost 60 planes, 552 airmen that day.
60 planes. That's catastrophic.
Devastating. Nearly a quarter of the crews on the second raid didn't come back, and despite dropping maybe 2,000 bombs, they only got about 80 hits on target factories. The pickle barrel dream just disintegrated.
So why? Why did the Norden bombsight, this supposed miracle weapon, fail so badly?
Reality intervened. Theory is one thing, combat is another. At 25,000 feet, it's minus 60 degrees. The oils in the bombsight thickened up, friction increased, calculations went haywire.
Plus the human element. Bombardiers puckering.
Yeah, under incredible stress, leaning forward, messing up the sightline. But the biggest killer, clouds. The Norden needed clear visual sighting. If there were clouds over the target, which there often were, it was basically useless.
And the official assessment afterwards.
The U.S. Strategic Bombing Survey concluded the raids had no measurable effect on essential war production. The ball-bearing plants were running again within weeks. Germany was just too resilient, too dispersed.
Yeah, Hansel, the true believer. He didn't give up, did he?
No, he clung to it. It's like that psychological phenomenon when prophecy fails, you double down. He wrote to Eager saying he was tremendously proud that it was completely justified, a turning point.
Wow. Delusional optimism, maybe?
Or just profound commitment, even when the cost was terrible. But then came a real moral crisis for him. The order to bomb Minster Cathedral on a Sunday.
A civilian target.
Clearly, Hansel was aghast. It violated everything he stood for. It showed the pressure was building to abandon the precision doctrine entirely.
And the focus starts shifting, right, to the Pacific.
Yeah, the Pacific Theater, a whole different scale. Absurd distances, Gladwell calls it. Hansel gets sent to the Marianas with the new B-29 Super Fortress.
The greatest bomber ever built, but with problems.
Big problems early on. Engine fires were common. They were launching from these primitive island bases, Quonset huts, runways carved out of rock. Meanwhile, LeMay is in India, flying supplies over the Himalayas.
The hump, using 12 gallons of fuel to deliver 1 gallon.
Just insane logistical nightmares. The frustration levels were sky high across the board.
And this frustration, this context of failure, sets the stage for the temptation.
The temptation, exactly. Precision bombing in Japan hits a new wall. The jet stream.
The jet stream, they didn't know about it.
Not really, not the Americans. Pilots would be flying along thinking they're doing 340 mile per hour, and suddenly they're doing 480 mile per hour ground speed because of these 125 knot tailwinds miles up.
Blowing bombs way off target.
Miles off target. 12 miles, sometimes. This river of air circling the globe. A Japanese scientist, Uishi, had actually discovered and documented it.
But published in Esperanto.
Yeah, Esperanto. So nobody in the West read it. High-altitude precision bombing, needing stable air and clear sight, just became impossible over Japan. The dream literally got blown away.
So while precision fails, something else is developing back home. Napalm.
Uh-huh. Back at Harvard, chemists Louis Pfizer and E.B. Hirschberg, guys obsessed with fire, are tasked with finding better ways to burn things. They stumble onto the sticky gel, gasoline plus aluminum naphthenate and aluminum palmitate.
Napalm. Designed not just to explode, but to stick and burn uncontrollably.
Exactly. And this is where the moral line gets really blurry.
How so?
They built replica Japanese villages out in the Utah desert at Dugway Proving Ground. Meticulously accurate replicas made of wood and paper because Japanese cities were tinderboxes 80% combustible compared to London's 15%.
And they tested napalm on them.
Yeah. Horrifyingly effective. Uncontrollable fires within minutes, and the rationalization starts. Well, Japanese industry isn't homes, so bombing homes is okay now. The historian Tommy Biddle said it was like, okay, gloves come off.
A complete reversal of the Bomber Mafia's original principle.
Total betrayal, funded by the same military that bought the Norden. The moral compass just starts spinning.
And Hansel, out in the Marianas, his dream in tatters.
Yeah.
He's facing this temptation directly.
He's trapped. His B-29s aren't hitting targets, morale is low. The army is shipping him thousands of napalm canisters, pushing him to use them.
But he refused.
He refused, delayed, made excuses, even chewed out his own officers for poor performance. He was desperate, but he wouldn't cross that line. He couldn't bring himself to order the firebombing of cities.
Gladwell calls him a tragic character, a philosopher, not a ruthless combat commander.
Right. He just didn't have it in his soul to kill hundreds of thousands of civilians indiscriminately. And that refusal, combined with the lack of result,
Leads to him being replaced by LeMay.
dramatically, January 19th, 1945, Hansel said he felt completely crushed. Idealism gets sacrificed for pragmatism.
So LeMay takes over, the ultimate problem solver. What does he do?
Well, first, he actually tries Hansel's precision way one more time. Hits the Nakajima aircraft plant again. Fails again. The plan is still standing.
And LeMay's reaction.
Classic LeMay.
I was up there for about 2 months and I hadn't done anything much yet. I'd better do something.
Ah.
He needed results. Now,
So what did doing something mean for LeMay?
it meant abandoning precision entirely, facing the jet stream, constant cloud cover. He decides to fly low, 5,000 to 9,000 feet, and at night.
Low and at night. The exact opposite of the doctrine. Completely. And his target wasn't a specific factory. His plan was simply Tokyo. The whole city. He knew it was controversial, so he sent the plan to Washington when his boss, Hap Arnold, was away. A calculated risk.
And Operation Meeting House, March 9th, 1945.
Over 300 B-29s, stripped of guns to carry more bombs, loaded to the brim with napalm. They drop 1,665 tons of it on Tokyo.
Creating a
A
firestorm.
literal firestorm.
Huh.
A self-sustaining inferno. 16 square miles of the city just incinerated. Buildings bursting into flame from the heat before the fire even got there. People jumping into canals, drowning or suffocating.
The death toll. It's staggering.
Up to 100,000 people killed that one night. Air crews reported smelling burning flesh inside their planes miles high. LeMay looks at the photos afterwards and just says, all this is out.
The art of justification.
Pure pragmatism. His job was to end the war as quickly as possible. If being relentless, decisive, and devastating shortened the war, saved more lives overall in his calculation, then that was the desirable, even the moral outcome for him. A chilling utilitarian logic.
So LeMay believed his firebombing made the later atomic bombs almost unnecessary.
He absolutely did. Said the real work was already done. He told that story about General Stilwell, the old army guy.
Right. Stilwell didn't get air power until he saw the rubble of Yokohama.
Exactly. Which raises that disturbing question. How could experienced leaders like Stilwell or Secretary of War Stimson be so unaware of the scale of destruction LeMay was causing with conventional bombs?
It was just outside their imagination.
Seems like it. The idea of wiping out cities conventionally was maybe just too alien, whereas the atomic bombs, those were debated endlessly. Truman lost sleep. They aimed for military targets, explicitly not women and children.
A different perceived moral threshold.
A vastly different level of scrutiny, even though the firebombing might have killed more people overall. Stimson only expressed shock after the second big firebombing raid, months after the first. It suggests a real disconnect or maybe willful ignorance.
And the final irony, Japan gives LeMay their highest honor in 1964.
Yeah, the First-Class Order of Merit of the Grand Cordon of the Rising Sun, for helping rebuild their air force. The premier just said, bygones are bygones. History is complicated.
Yeah, so bringing it to today, what's the legacy? We have incredible precision now, don't we?
Unbelievable precision. General Goldfein talks about hitting targets within 20 meters of friendly troops or taking out one specific room in a building.
Hansel's dream realized, almost beyond imagination.
Exactly. But there's the paradox Gladwell points out. The cleaner, the more precise the bomb.
The more tempting it is to use it, even when maybe you shouldn't.
Right. It highlights this persistent moral problem. Technology gives us the ability to avoid slaughtering innocents, to be surgical. We can do better, as Gladwell says. The genius of the Bomber Mafia wasn't just the tech. It was recognizing that moral problems can sometimes be solved with ingenuity, allowing us to fight without losing our principles.
But the temptation is always there.
Always. Gladwell's conclusion is powerful. LeMay won the battle in the Pacific with brute force.
But Hansel won the war, morally speaking.
In terms of moral vision, yes. Hansel represents the idea that new tech only serves a higher purpose if people with strong principles insist it be used that way. He stuck to his guns even when it meant failure, humiliation, being replaced. His struggle matters.
It's a profound lesson about choice and power.
Definitely.
So we've navigated this complex, often heartbreaking story of the Bomber Mafia, the dream, the reality, the clash of ideals. Norden, Hansel, LeMay, these incredible figures grappling with immense challenges.
And it leaves us with that enduring question, doesn't it? In our world of advanced tech, drone strikes, cyber warfare, what are the true costs of victory? How do we win without losing our souls?
It's a question that echoes right through to today, as those lines between precision and devastation keep blurring.
Makes you think.
As you reflect on this deep dive, think about how these dilemmas play out now. Where do you see the echoes of Hansel's idealism or LeMay's pragmatism today? What stands out to you from this incredible story? Thank you so much for tuning in to Daily Review. We truly appreciate you joining us for your daily dose of literary exploration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to share these amazing books with you. If you're enjoying what you hear, please consider taking a moment to subscribe, rate, like, and comment on any of the platforms you're listening from. This really helps support our channel and allows us to get better and bring you even more great content. If today's reviews sparked your interest and you're ready to dive into a copy of the book, please consider using the link in our description to make your purchase. Not only does it make it easy for you to get your hands on the book, but it also directly supports our channel and the author, allowing us to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks again for being a part of the Daily Review community.